What's up guys, this is Seville with another Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure review. Today, I'll be talking about the Avengers Endgame Thanos, and comparing it to the Infinity War version. So, if you can give me just a few more seconds, I'll have it all put together for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. To complete this figure, you need to collect parts from Ronin, Ebony Maw, Living Laser, Nighthawk, Citizen V, and Hercules. Captain America is not needed. So on the left side here, I have the 10th anniversary version of Thanos from the 3-pack that also included Iron Man and Doctor Strange. I don't have the original Build-A-Figure version anymore, but if you wanted to see differences between that one and this 3-pack version, you can check out my 3-pack review where I explain those differences. But it is very, very similar to this one anyway. So for the most part, this video should also answer any questions you have when comparing that one to the armored version. Beyond this point, I may get into a little bit of spoiler territory as far as Endgame is concerned, simply because the information will be relevant to the comments and complaints I have about this figure. So, if you want to remain absolutely spoiler free, go ahead and click off now, but come back once you've seen Endgame. If you're still with me, let's get on with the comparison. Right off the bat, I don't want to take anything away from the overall look and aesthetics of the armored Thanos. It clearly has a much higher detailed sculpt, at least in the torso region, most certainly more so in the back. However, if I didn't already have the Infinity War Thanos, there are some inconsistencies that I might not have noticed otherwise, such as the size of the armored figure. He is a little bit taller, but not quite as wide as the Infinity War version. The added height could potentially be explained by the boots, except when you look at them compared to the other ones. The Infinity War boot looks a lot larger than the armored boot, which is kind of backwards. And then here, what I'm trying to show you, but you may not be able to see very well, is that the waistline of the Infinity War version is just slightly larger than the waistline of the armored version. And to me, the armor should make him seem wider and even more imposing, but that's not the case here. Instead, it's more like the armor is a girdle forcing the waistline in. As far as the Infinity Gauntlet goes, it looks like it's the exact same one from the original Build-A-Figure, with the same balled up fist and all, as opposed to the open hand version of the 10th anniversary. Now, my problem with this is, going into a bit of the spoiler territory I spoke of earlier, he never actually wears the Infinity Gauntlet during Endgame, because the armored version of Thanos is technically from the year 2014, before he ever had any of the stones. While he does briefly wear a gauntlet in the movie, it's not this one, it's the one built by Iron Man. Therefore, knowing that, I kinda wish they just left the gauntlet off altogether and matched up both arms. Another key point to address is the articulation. The armored Thanos does lose a couple of points, as well as movement in the other points, with the biggest differences being in the arms. The armored Thanos does not have the bicep swivel, and while the shoulders do have the same amount of rotation, it is a bit hindered and restricted by the shoulder pad armor. But they do try to make up for it by having the elbows rotate, where the Infinity War version only had the 90-degree fold. As far as the leg articulation goes, it is all pretty similar, except the knee joint actually folds a little bit better on the armored version, but the ankle still does a lot better on the Infinity War version. In fact, the Infinity War version has a much greater pivot. On the armored version, it's more of a rotation, so it can't always flatten out. So with all that said, let's run this comparison through my guidelines for a complete and fair review. While it is a brand new sculpt that is highly detailed, it's not quite as accurate as it could have been. The scale doesn't quite match up to the previous Thanos, and the articulation still doesn't reach 20 points. But it does still balance pretty well, and it does include his double-bladed accessory. So far, this wave hasn't been very abundant in many stores, so accessibility may still be an issue, which does tend to lead to high aftermarket prices for Build-A-Figures. However, to end on a positive note, I didn't really have any quality control issues with this figure, leading it to a 6 out of 10 star rating, meaning it's still pretty awesome and worth owning for casual fans, especially if you're already collecting most of the wave. Therefore, in conclusion, while I do like the general look of the armor version just a little bit better, I do believe that the Infinity War version represents its movie quite a bit more accurately. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video,
get over here!
And subscribe to Civilian Collectibles.